All right, Tom.
Oof.
Come on. Let's have some fun with this one, buddy.
Yeah, man, no problem. I mean, who cares at this point? I mean, you always care. You want to win games, but like,
There
cares,
will
man?
be much better games to watch this weekend. The storylines going into this weekend for Penn State versus Iowa are tremendous. So it will get a lot of attention because the big question is, what does Penn State look like after James Franklin and after Drew Aller? Terry Smith, the interim head coach, spoke a lot earlier on this week talking about restoring the toughness, the grit, and the passion with which the team plays. The question was asked, well, where did that go? How did that go away? Why did that go away? No real specific answers were given, but vague answers surrounding NIL and money were certainly brought up. And it's alarming for Penn State football fans to know that the nucleus from last season that people felt so confident in, that Penn State was the preseason number 1 or number 2, depending on where you looked, that returning production had to be paid to come back. And then when everything didn't go their way against Oregon, and you narrowly lost to one of the better teams in the country, that everything just disintegrated virtually overnight against UCLA and against Northwestern. Will firing James Franklin, ironically, be the thing that galvanizes this team? We've seen it before. We've seen how coaches getting fired can inspire teams to play for their departed head coach. Terry Smith was already the associate head coach for Penn State football. And based on everything I understand about this program, there is nobody else that they would have picked to lead this. And this is not just a look around the room and Mike, it's you. All right. Terry Smith is very much equipped to handle this, but the real X's and O's of the situation going into this. Kirk Ferentz and Iowa have been playing much better than people expected this year. It took Mark Gronowski, a quarterback, a number of starts to get acclimated to major Division I college football and Big Ten football. Iowa has proved they can put some points on people. It's not the exact same Iowa you've seen for years where it's just run the football to death and pray that you score 20 points. They hung 38 on Rutgers a number of weeks ago. And for those people that want to say, well, Penn State isn't Rutgers, Penn State gave up 42 2 weeks ago to UCLA. They lost 22-21 at home to Northwestern. You have no idea which version of Penn State you're getting this weekend. Penn State has struggled against the interior run game mightily over the last 3 weeks. The lack of depth and talent at defensive line, the lack of depth and talent at linebacker is astonishing for a Penn State football team. The secondary, also much heralded going into this season, has struggled this year. I don't think this is an Iowa team that is going to be able to take the top off of Penn State, but it's going to be much more conventional Iowa football, which can be effective against this Penn State team. Play action pass, run the football extremely well up the middle, take what the defense gives you. And oh, by the way, a mobile quarterback that if you put 10 hats on 11, they can hurt Penn State. That's been proven for 3 consecutive weeks. So I'm curious if when we get to sleeper, we can pick the more for rushing yards for Mark Gronowski, because I will probably do that. At the same time, for Penn State offensively, going up against Iowa's defense, there will be points that you can get against this team. Again, this doesn't strike me as an Iowa defense that is just going to be like, hey, we'll give up 17 and pray. This is a good defense, but you still are going to have your opportunities. The huge question is, will this quarterback, Ethan Grunkier, an underclassman who has never started a game at Penn State, be able to handle the 4 scariest words in Big Ten football at Kinnick at night? This is a very hostile crowd that historically hates Penn State football, and they are not pleasant people to be around when those games happen. Ethan Grunkier and Terry Smith handling their first games at the helm, respectively, in their roles at Iowa is a very difficult process. And the last thing I think many of the people in the Lash building at Penn State are thinking about is playing a football game this weekend. I sincerely hope, as someone who attended Penn State, covers a team, that James Franklin's firing galvanizes this team, because there's a lot of guys hurt in that locker room, believe that they are responsible for getting their coach fired. They feel guilty. So do they step it up? Penn State in the trenches, both the offensive line and the defensive line, it has been very inconsistent and poor this season. Unless they change overnight, I don't expect that identity to change all that much. I don't know where this necessarily falls in terms of the score. I'm going to hear what you guys have to say on this and give it a second here to think about it. But This is a tough situation, and it's a really, really complicated situation because you just don't know which version of Penn State you're getting. Ethan Grunkier, the scouting report on him before Drew Aller went down was that he's kind of a hybrid between Drew Aller's arm talent, and Bo Perbula's ability to run. In the limited amount that we've seen of Ethan Grunkier, he's thrown interceptions often, and he hasn't done all that much that's really inspiring. It's too small of a sample size to really claim exactly what he is, but there's nothing he's put on tape that you're like, we're going to be fine. Does his skill set fit Andy Kotelnicki's offense better than Drew Aller's? However, there is the possibility the answer to that question is yes, because of what he can do with his legs. If Penn State leans that direction, do they have more explosivity and pop in the offense? We'll see.
I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Do not delay. We're like halfway through the month. The offer only goes through October, but if you've been waiting to deposit, if you've been waiting to put money into the app, you don't even have to do that now. You get a free $20 play by putting our code in, CFA, for College Football Addiction, on the Sleeper app. The link in the description literally will auto-populate that for you. You don't have to spend money. You don't have to deposit. If you're cheap or you just don't trust whatever, go and make a free play right now. You get a free $20 on the Sleeper app. You go in, you pick more or less on at least 2 players, games that you like. They've got free picks all the time. I saw that last night Jared Goff had a more or less of 0.5. Go and deposit on the Sleeper app right now. If you also want a $100 match up to $100, you can get that. But again, you don't have to. You just get a free $20 play. Go and play. We'll play that live on the Power 2 on Wednesday. Give you some of our favorite picks from the weekend. Let you know how we did last week so you can trust or fade what we're doing. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check.
I just got to ask you from the standpoint of Iowa's defense. It's top 10 in almost every single category, -1, and that's pass defense. Do you trust Grunkier to be able to build a repetition with any of these wide receivers, his tight ends, even Katron Allen and Nick Singleton out of the backfield, to where you're at least able to convert on third down and keep drives alive and win the time possession battle?
I think the first thing that has to happen if you're Andy Kotelnicki game planning this is a brand new revitalized dedication to Katron Allen. We saw that against Northwestern, and there was improvement. Ethan Grunkier, one thing that you can point towards, all right, he's a number 2. Is he working with the primary pass catchers? Is he working with the second tier? And that's been something a lot of Penn State fans have been calling for, is to see guys that there was buzz about during the offseason, like Kobe Howard, like Tyser Denmark, guys who did not get involved in the Northwestern game for some reason. The next wide receiver Penn State went to after the 3 transfers was Liam freaking Clifford. So the answers that Andy Kotelnicki has attempted to throw out there have not done the job. So Ethan Grunkier, while it'll be new, there's not really any tendencies of his to work off of. I think Penn State's going to have its opportunities early. They're going to have better athletes than what Iowa was able to field in terms of the weapons on offense versus what Iowa was putting out there defensively. But this is still Kirk Ferentz. This is still a really smart, disciplined, gritty defense they're going to put out there every single week. So I don't think there's going to be any gimmies, but there will be opportunities in the passing game. It's a huge question mark of, is Ethan Grunkier developed enough to the point to be calm under pressure in a hostile environment, make his reads, and make the right throws?
I wonder if there's any chance that Penn State can do kind of what UCLA did after firing their coach and kind of give an inspired effort. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith that they will, though, especially with if Aller was there, maybe you'd have, I understand like the idea of like maybe the backup plays a little bit better than the starter in the offense, but man, it's a lot to ask going into Iowa and doing that. I'll take Iowa in a low scoring 24-21 win.
I believe.
Go ahead, Cole.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, Tom.
I was about to honestly say 24-20 Iowa.
How dare all of you? I will believe in Penn State to get the job done in a 15-12 game. Field goals galore. We'll win this football game.
I hope it's not just, I'd be fine with 9 field goals, but I hope there's like a safety, a mixed extra point, 2-point convert. I hope there's weird stuff that gets us to that score.
Let's get back to 2007, a 3-2 finish. Let's do that. Come on.
Gosh.
6-4. 6-4. Yeah.
You remember when what was the game? It's Virginia Tech and somebody else because the picture is Beamer. It's either Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech or Virginia Tech Boston. I think it was Georgia Tech. Wake Forest, yeah, 0-0 at the end of the regulation period. And then I think they both scored a couple of times in overtime. It made it look kind of normal, but I don't